Why should I care? Well, you really shouldn't.
Welcome to Why Should I Care, a pop culture podcast. Me and the gents are going to be going over a great pilot by the name of Awesometown that everybody knows and loves, or most of us know. And if you don't, get ready to learn. From Fox, when was it, Jeremy?
2005, I think.
2005, awesome. But I want to take a minute to handle some business first. My name is Anthony. I'm a Cancer on everything that is beautiful. And anybody else want to introduce themselves?
Hi, I'm Jeremy. I'm a Capricorn on everything that's beautiful. And on my off time, I like to pet cats and shave my toes.
Sweet.
I'm Andy, and I'm an Aries, I guess. Yeah, fuck you, joke. I do computery things. I like video games and interior decorating.
As evidenced
Awesome.
by the, the feng shui that you got going on back there.
Sorry, ladies. I'm taken.
Clearly housebroken.
He's paper trained anyway.
I mean, you know. I am not an anchor for intros. Anthony, save us, dear God.
Okay.
Since the beginning of time, mankind has searched for sanctuary from poverty, sickness, and war. Just recently, 3 young men found it. Welcome to Awesometown.
Come along with us. Come along to Awesometown. Come along with us and wipe away your frown.
So let's do some overall thoughts on the greatness that is Awesometown. It's a great pilot that, frankly, should have been made, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it would have done fine, especially considering the fact that around then Mad TV was leaving Fox, which is what one of the 2 pilot cuts was made for.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it was going to be that Saturday night late night slot, right? Yeah.
Probably. I mean, that's where that kind of stuff usually goes. Maybe Sunday night, but I think that's when everything was starting to get real animated.
Animation domination. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that being said, I think it totally would have been a good fit for Fox.
What's funny about it is that it feels very comedy, and I don't know if this is good or bad. To me, good comedy is fairly timeless, and so I'm not saying that this is bad comedy, but none of it would be what I would refer to as timeless. Like if you weren't above the age of 14 by 2005, I don't think a lot of this is even gonna resonate the same way, because that is that very cringe comedy of the time, it's so awkward and that's what we're gonna laugh at,
Yeah.
And that kind of comedy has sort of passed. It's sort of come and gone a little bit, because now cringe comedy is so much more cringe than this. This actually feels tame by today's standards, I think, on the cringe scale, that is.
Well, we had the opportunity to talk about Heat Vision and Jack and its total 1999 stamp that it had.
Mm-hmm.
I think this has a 2005 stamp, because
Mm-hmm.
if you weren't a child or a teen that watched the OC, you're not going to understand a skit like The Boo as easily. You're not going to appreciate it on the same level. Whereas if you watch the Enemy Mine skit, that is the one bit in there that I think, no matter if that came out today as something they released,
That's a deep cut.
It is a deep cut.
The whole concept of being stranded on a planet, you don't need to know what that movie is to see the humor in it.
Space wide.
Although it does add to it. But I think
Absolutely.
it does work without that knowledge. And it's one of the few things in this pilot Castaways probably is another that would work.
I appreciated Castaways for what it was.
Yeah, Castaways it's fine. It is of all the skits that they could have continued to roll with, that it does feel like it overstays its welcome a little bit.
Well, on the plus side, we've all got these sweet beards.
And really, to be fair, the Fox cut, there is less castaways. So the MTV cut, they were like more nudity and more, well, pixelated nudity and more castaways. It really seems to be the big difference between those two cuts.
For me, I don't know why, but I feel like the Fox cut is the strongest cut.
It feels like the most cohesive, which is a weird thing to say about a sketch show.
Well, here's the thing. I think comedy benefits from good editing. Like, that's why Judd Apatow movies always fall apart for me. It's because I can't do a 2.5-hour comedy. Like, you're gonna have to cut something, you know? Like, and I think it's a hard thing for creative folks to do, especially funny people, because they're like, well, it's all funny, so just more funny is better than less funny, right? But I think you have to give people there's a rhythm to it, and there's like an ebb and flow to it that I agree. I think the Fox cut has, and I also think sometimes you gain by subtraction, and so like by not showing something or by censoring a joke a little bit more than you might have, leaving something to the audience's imagination actually creates more funny than less funny.
Like not seeing your dick right now.
Exactly. But to be fair, that'd be hilarious. There. Everyone laughs every time they see it. So I would say that's I'm batting 1,000 on dick. Laughing, that is.
Got a thumbs up from Andy. I like that.
Can that be on my tombstone, please? I'm batting 1,000 on dick.
I like how you only celebrate that in death. Like,
oh yeah.
Why not?
Oh yeah.
Why not now?
I guess I could just get it tattooed across my belly, just like batting 1,000.
I think on my tombstone it's just going to say failure.
I would like mine to be sort of meta, so it's like, hey, watch out or something.
Yeah.
I just want to be detonated. I've told several people about this because it comes up more than you'd expect.
Yeah. What should I do with your corpse, Andy?
Like, I bring that out in people. What can I say? So, yeah, like I've said, I just want to have a nice outdoor standard funeral, and then I want my casket to be outdoors, but also lined with some kind of explosive that can be detonated remotely.
I see you just line the whole thing with det cord all the way through it. I think that'd be great.
Mean, pretty much.
Like snake it all through there, yeah.
I
don't know why I'm having a picture of like a weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
You want a park bench with your arm up, and we can just go sit with you and talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
We had some good times, didn't we, Andy?
And then at the end of it, just yeah, that'll work.
I was taking people's safety in mind, but also my love of catching baseballs that get knocked into the stands. So I was thinking some kind of like rail-mounted catapult. And this would be like, over a lake.
Uh-huh.
And the procession goes, everyone sits down, and then I'm just basically launched over the lake and then detonated in midair.
I have a full Rocketeer garb.
I would hope so, yeah.
I mean, if that's not happening, then none of this should be happening.
None of it's happening, yeah.
And then, you just kind of like, anything comes at the crowd, they keep what they catch. And then there are some very large, audio monitors that just start playing Jet's Cold Hard Bitch. And then everyone's not asked, but told to leave.
Yeah, get the fuck out. Cold Hard Bitch, just a kiss on the lips.
I don't want to be mourned. If I can get everyone confused and maybe even a little bit like mad at me, just so the mourning doesn't have to happen, then I think I've set.
I went to Andy's funeral and all I got was this crappy T-shirt and a body part.
Yeah, I got all I got was this bloody, meaty, chunky T-shirt. I was thinking like a Gallagher kind of thing with a plastic sheet over the front row. And I thought you could add an element.
Nobody.
You could add an element of summer fun to this if you really wanted to.
Summer fun.
So what you
really
do
got
is
to plan my death.
I'm saying you place your corpse at the edge of like one of those You know those big inflatable blob things that they put on the lake? So you place your corpse on one end, and then all the pallbearers will walk your the 6 of us. I'm assuming you're dead next week and I'm still alive. We carry your corpse. We got it in the casket. We take you out. We set you on the blob, and then the 6 of us simultaneously cannonball onto the other side of the blob, launching your corpse into the air, and then explosion. So I'm just saying, like, if you want to add an element of summer fun to it, I think we could really get that going. Or just like a whole gaggle of fat kids, if you want.
Got to figure out. Wow.
Yeah, we have a viewing of Heavyweights afterward.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Ben Stiller can come. Of Heat Ray and Jack fame, just saying.
Of course.
So,
and then everything.
Heat Ray and Jack. I want to see that.
Heat Ray, Heat Vision, and Jack. God damn it. Fucking Heat Ray.
Heat Ray. Oh my God, I love it. Well, I mean, planning our deaths aside, as fun as that was.
As fun as
yeah. What are we doing again?
What was that?
Yeah. So, but some of these skits, to get back to Awesometown,
right?
Sure.
They actually had different life as the boys went on to SNL, right? Because that Enemy Mine skit, didn't Jack Black star in the SNL episode where that was done in a different version, if memory serves?
Oh gosh, how do I put this? I have both male and female genitalia. So, just something to think about.
There were several of like the Lonely Island jokes that made it in some version or another to SNL. Mostly just Hoobastank. Hoobastank. Yeah, Hoobastank got around.
It also wound up in the Awesometown movie, or Lonely Island movie, you could call it.
Hot Rod.
Hoobastank.
Hot Rod.
Yeah, Hot Rod is so fucking good.
It is so good.
Yeah.
As you can tell, I'm a pop star fan also.
That movie is also good. Like, I don't know why it got shit on so bad, because it's fucking funny. All the way front to back, that movie's really funny.
Hot Rod is definitely funnier.
Yes, it is.
But I will say it still has some great moments.
Bill Hader steals Hot Rod. Well, I mean, and Danny McBride. Fuck. God, they're both so
it's a
funny.
Great ensemble cast.
All right, Rico, listen. There's an ancient Italian maxim that roughly translates to, he who is resistant to change is destined to perish. So why don't you try open up that mind of yours? You know, it's like, look at Kevin. I mean, he's real mature, man.
Yeah, don't you ever tell me how to live my life again.
Okay, yeah, the Enemy Mine sketch. I don't remember if I must have missed that on SNL, but to be fair, there are a lot of episodes of SNL. But just a couple. But no, that's a solid segue. Pretty much everything that they had been doing up to that point created the digital shorts for SNL.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
Well, the Boo, they were already they were doing that on, because I remember they were putting out they were putting out that on their like YouTube channel in the very, very early days of the Tube, and it had the chick from Scrubs in it sometimes.
Sarah Chalk.
Yep. She just decided that she didn't have a career anymore after that. Scrubs was over, and she's like, "I'm good, guys. See you around."
Do you think, because Jorma and Akiva, they were writers on SNL, and then Andy became the only featured player, right?
Because weren't they all?
That was my understanding.
Writing, and then Andy got a featured role. I can't remember how that went.
I also don't know. I thought they were like sort of a package deal just because they had so much established work, and they kind of, you know.
And this is the kind of preparation you can expect from the Why Should I Care podcast.
Well, here's the thing.
So in this one, we don't.
Yeah, we're going to pull back the curtain a little bit.
Not enough.
We've been at this for a while, and so much so that I forgot everything, and so did everyone else. So here we are.
When the world is ending, we lose our focus a bit. And
so sorry about that.
No, I love it.
What about Randy Quaid?
Yeah, Randy Quaid, far and away my
Independence
favorite
Day is an
cast member
excellent film.
in Super
You know,
Mario
that
Brothers, the
shit
movie.
all at the end, that was all reshoots. That was not part of the original film at all. They just made that up.
Fun fact, Randy Quaid did not even know that was acting. They just started rolling, and he did everything on set, and that's...
Rest in peace, Randy Quaid.
Yep.
He's dead?
I think he died.
No!
Last time I checked, he was posting crazy YouTube videos with a giant beard about conspiracies or something. Yeah.
He's going to shoot the big alien spaceship and save us all.
It's true. He's going to strap a nuke to his crop duster.
AKA his ass.
It's true. Strapping a nuke to your crop duster is the euphemism for eating Taco Bell 3 meals in a row.
The past 45 seconds has spiked my anxiety tremendously.
I'll have the number 3 Randy Quaid says, please.
Yeah. Can you Quaid that for me?
Everybody just nods. They lock down the drive-through,
Right.
bar the doors, and they say,
Quaid
all right,
burger,
so this is it for the day.
Mm-hmm. This is it.
You need to
This
fill out
is what it's
safety
come
waiver.
to. Mm-hmm.
Which next of kin would you like to, in the very likely event
Of a coronary event.
Speaking of detonating people, so Awesometown.
Thanks for coming back. Exploding high five.
We were talking earlier about bits that overstay their welcome a little bit.
Sure.
And this show has some of that. I also feel like the Just Two Guys also overstays its welcome just a little bit. And
Just
it's
a
fun.
smidge.
It would, but I always feel that way about musical comedy. I think it should always be shorter than it is. Like if you're especially people who do a funny song, but then they do the same they repeat the verse. It's like, nope, it's not fun anymore because you've already lost the element of surprise. And so,
well, I beg to differ. I think the South Park Mormon episode does it beautifully.
okay,
This guy's released an album.
But you also have to go. That goes completely in the other direction where you take it to the nth degree, and I think you're right. That also works. So this one. It either didn't go far, and it went just too far that I found it a bit I started to find it unfunny, but not far enough that it was then became funny again. Like, because you're right, there's that line where that can happen, and it
just loops back around.
It loops back around, and I think
sure. Rule of 3, rule of 6, rule of 9s.
Yeah. So, and this,
Never
in
the
general,
rule of 9s.
I feel like this feels like mumblecore comedy to me a little bit. There's just like a lot of like slumped shoulders and people not facing the fucking camera or the microphone when they're delivering whatever they're delivering. So
interesting idea. I never
just kind
ever
of
considered the concept of mumblecore comedy.
It's just that's kind of what it feels like a little bit, where you're like, the setup isn't really that funny and doesn't really matter that much because the comedy's kind of in the situation. So we'll just go, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to spit it out so we can get to being funny. And that seems to be the prevailing thing with all of this. And like this whole thing is, the setup is going to be pretty
tepid, but
yeah, we're going to have a real tepid setup, and then we're going to try to just ramp it with the payoff. And it's like, well, hit or miss, I guess. It is still. It reminds me of a specific place in time. Like obviously, we were all in high school together.
The mid-aughts.
Yeah. Well, you were leaving us, but Andy and I were still in high school, and it reminds me of that time. You know, like that's the kind of stupid jokes that we would have told each other. You know, and so it's pretty obvious that it was aimed at a young male audience. You know, like that is who it's for. So
I'm about 90% sure we literally watched Awesometown and a lot of the Lonely Island shit together.
I bet we did
at Anthony's place.
Yes.
I'm sure. Yeah. So we really have come full circle at this point. So
yeah, we haven't had anything relevant to talk about other than this.
No. Last time we were hanging out,
podcasts got real big.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, before there was nothing interesting, so we would just sit in your apartment and listen to music and improv. So
that's right.
And I couldn't decide because Lonely Island's stuff never feels particularly. It's on the nose, but I wasn't the Ignition TV sketch.
You want to talk about stuff that I felt overstayed its welcome?
That one also does, but I get the joke. Like, but the thing is, it's the only thing that's like commentary. I feel like in this whole thing.
The 3D glasses one, right?
No,
that's the one where they play in the club and a tattoo song, but it's just porn.
Countdown,
but it's just straight porn.
It's the same clip on both of them too.
It is,
and they even do like a TRL bit in the second one, which is they're not going to get us when, somebody. Anthony, are you there?
His freeze frame is just so jovial.
It's encouraging. I want to keep going, but I also, I want him to be in on the conversation, but I feel like I'm doing right with whatever I'm doing right now.
I know, it really does. It feels good.
I want to get that frame.
Every time I see that little face, it just brightens my day.
I want that on my desk. Know what I'm doing.
Oh,
hey man, you're back.
Hi.
So
Jeremy's gonna get you some footage, and it's gonna
be good.
It's gonna make you smile.
You're gonna like it, yeah.
But yeah, it was the one part that I did kind of appreciate, just in retrospect, after I kind of reflected on it a bit, was because it's the same footage of two people having sex, and the first one was in the club. No, they just show it, and they're like, "All right, next up, tattoos. You're not gonna get us." And they play it again. The same exact clip, but they do a TRL thing where somebody pops in to do commentary and they're like,
"Hey, my name is Matt. I go to Arizona State, and I request a tattoo because they're hot and they make out. So devils!"
And it's just sort of like, that tracks for then, especially, but also everyone's still not acknowledging that the music video is not.
It's not the correct
the music video.
Yeah, and so the question.
All right.
The question I had about it was, is this a commentary on mid-2000s music videos and like the TRL generation where it was just like titties and butts to the music? Like, is it commentary or is it just complete, like, is it just Lonely Island randomness? Who's to say?
Stop. I think I'm starting to feel better.
I had a hard time making heads or tails of what the joke was supposed to be.
I couldn't decide either, yeah.
For being random, I was like, yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, sometimes I'm just like, this is random for the sake of being random. Like
I think that may have been the case with this one.
And like sometimes that works and sometimes it really doesn't.
It worked that time, but not in the way that you expected.
I'm hungry.
Are you?
Yeah. Trying to think if I have pepperonis downstairs or not. Oh.
I was thinking more milk duds, but I don't know.
You wanted a Quaid combo at the local Taco Bell.
I did want it to be Quaid size for sure.
Ready to
Quaid
die. Quaid size me.
Let me get a Randy combo, please. Quaid size.
And here's my last
I love how
testament.
We've talked more about Randy Quaid than anything else in this podcast.
Well, because I'm not actually funny, so if I find something that I think is funny, I'll just run that shit into the ground forever. So that's what you can always count on me for. Kind of like the Castaways skip.
Castaways
was a 3-act arc. It should have just been a 3-act arc. Arctic? Yeah.
The Antarctic.
Why don't you just light it with your perfect beards?
It should have just been 3 sketches, and that would have been good. They had the one where they were like posing like models, and that was random.
The beard competition is the part that isn't funny because giving the guy with the worst beard the trophy that would be the comedy 101, like the way that you would do that. But you didn't provide anything else. So it's just, that's the third one. It's just,
And that's what would have made it great. I thought that was perfectly fine, especially at the end when he's just sort of like, yeah, I did it. And somehow, like, it's not like the two guys with majestic beards are in on it, and they're like, all right, cool. You know, like the one who didn't win looks actually disappointed.
He looks sad. Yeah.
And then Jorma goes out to the beach and just whips the coconut that he got into the ocean.
That's fair. Like that stuff is like, funny. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
That's the other thing too. Is this is very early Lonely Island. You know,
right?
Like to say that it's like this is what they always were and this is what they became and this is what they are today. It's
no,
discredit them.
No, you could definitely tell this is the infancy of their style of comedy and how they're
finding a voice
stuff.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I also can completely understand why everybody passed on this because it's not a show. Like it isn't a show that you could make. You couldn't do a whole season of if that's what you got. Like it's more misses than hits, you know. And so I kind of get why everybody passed on it.
Sure, and I can understand why they would have. Well, if you know, going with that, I could see why they would wind up on SNL.
Yep, because you get to pitch sketches every week. And only the really good ones are going to make it through. And really, it's only going to be about one Lonely Island sketch every show rather than a whole bunch of them. So, I also think, too, that, like, their YouTube presence really helped them, like, figure out who they were, too, because they basically just started making shit specifically for their audience. Like, they made a whole album. It's just dumb, like white guy silly rapping shit because everyone was like, well, this is so fun. Dick in a Box is hilarious. Let's just do this forever. Here's I think the main problem with this show is that because it lacks in cohesion entirely, all you can really go is it's very Lonely Island because it is. Like
sure.
They have an aesthetic that it permeates through this whole thing and you couldn't, other than the fact that it stars only the Lonely Island, basically, you can't mistake it for anything else. And so that's probably good. You know, those guys certainly had a unique comedic voice. Whereas, like, because especially the 2000s, like, when I think about comedy from the 2000s, other than like Mr. Show, which I think definitely is like a precursor to the Lonely Island, like this feels like a new thing because nobody else was really doing like awkward self-effacing comedy like that because you also had this was Dane Cook era too, so the era of like the hot guy comedian was like trying to be a thing as well, like a comedian that was also fuckable, like that was really weird. So the idea that this is not that I think is good. Like it still feels very much like we are the butt of the joke. I'm an idiot. Look how small my dick is. Like to me, that feels much more true than like, look at my 6-pack abs while I flail my arms around in the air.
Well, I think what's unique too is with the other pilot that we did, Heat, Vision, and Jack, it seems like without content like that and without content like this, like I don't think Adult Swim would exist.
I don't think so. This very much feels like that.
But they definitely took those types of concepts and made it their brand.
Well, Adult Swim also was really smart because they knew that you can't do this for a half an hour. Like, if you're going to do these really kind of weirdo, off-the-wall, uncomfortable kind of things, it's got to be quick hits. And so that's where like these 11-minute TV shows like that they have are perfect. Like because you something like Awesometown, where if you trimmed 4 minutes out of that, I mean that's 20% of it. But if you took the least funny 20% out of Awesometown, you probably get the Fox cut. You know, you probably get the funniest, like tightest stuff. And I think that is something that, I don't purport to be a comedian by any means, but anytime I've ever attempted to be funny at all, brevity's always been my friend, and I think.
Yep. That's the classic saying, not drawing things out really, really long and just getting to the point is pretty much what you need to do.
If you want to get anything done in the future, potentially, yeah, you might want to consider those things that Andy just said.
That's the saying. I think is the industry.
I agree. I think it's like when Tim and Eric tried to make their long movie.
Oh, that fucking movie you can't watch it.
I couldn't do it.
Nope, can't watch it. And I love Tim and Eric. I
love them.
Absolutely love them. But you cannot do it. It's.
Oh no, I finished that one. Sorry, for a second there, I thought I also couldn't finish it, but no, I did it. I think
that's good. Was it worth it?
I mean, it ended pretty much like a Tim and Eric sketch, just everything going to shit.
Going completely haywire, yeah.
Possible way. No, I think I tried to watch it while I was working, and it got to the part where I'm going to get my dick cut off and sewn back on. That I was like, that's funny, and then they like show it, and I was like, oh, I'm working for Disney right now. That's not good.
Do you remember the Smirnoff commercials?
You know that new sound you're looking for?
Yeah. Hey, Marvin, it's your cousin Marvin. You know that new dick you've been looking for?
Bob Iger, have I got some news for you?
So if you were an exec at Fox and this came to you, would you make it today?
Probably not, only because I feel like the market for that isn't on network television anymore. I think with like streaming services and stuff like that, like where you don't, or even just like network, pay cable, where you don't have to worry so much about the FCC and what old people will think when they turn it on randomly with their rabbit ear television. But back then, I'm sort of surprised that nobody. I am sort of surprised that nobody picked it up, because there were a lot of way less funny shit that made air like in the mid 2000s.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe that's. If Lonely Island if Awesometown got passed over for a bunch of unfunny stuff, then maybe Fox execs and the people making those calls just didn't have an eye for shit people wanted to watch.
Well, I obviously they didn't, because I mean they were also the ones who canceled Family Guy after one season and then went, oh wait, never mind.
They also canceled Almost Human, which was a fantastic crime procedural.
I love that show.
Almost Human is a very good show.
Yeah,
we fucking should.
I loved Fringe, and it was by the creators of Fringe. I could go on and on about my love for those two shows.
But I think the point is that the Fox execs had their heads in their asses. But then again,
they may very well have.
There are reasons for all the decisions they've made, I'm sure.
So we've gotten to the point here where I guess we can rate Awesometown. In our rating system, it's quite simple. Should you care, or we don't care. And I think although that Awesometown had some great memories for us back in the day, and we remember it fondly, upon these viewings now, what do you think, Andy? Should we care?
As someone who typically appreciates where things start out and measuring that against where they wind up, I would say I care, but I kind of prefer where it came out. So while it's a tough one.
I'm kind of
I don't care, because they have done a lot better since then, and even like just after then. Like you want to get peak Lonely Island, I say, nab Incredibad, check out the digital shorts, go from there. But Awesometown is definitely a very, very uncut, very rough little gem. While I appreciate it, I think you can do better.
I'm kind of with Andy. I think there's this is like Lonely Island 1.0, and I think there is better. If you like this style of comedy, Lonely Island themselves did it better in some other form that is fairly easy to track down. And so really this almost feels more like an oddity or like it feels kind of like a demo tape, like to use terms that like I am sort of more familiar with. Like it really does feel like Nirvana's Bleach. You're like, okay, I see what you're going for, but like not quite there.
You see the potential, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you could definitely see the potential, and it is certainly not without merit entirely. It's just like like Andy said, there's better stuff out there later that you could just go watch, and it would be funnier.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you both. I think if there was a possible third rating, it would almost be like I used to care. You know, like
I cared.
Yeah, I cared. Past tense. I'm thankful that it inspired the great things that came after it. It has some sparks of magic, but as a whole, it's pretty obvious why it didn't get made. But I'm thankful they were able to find their voice in other ways. And 7 Days in Hell, I'm telling you guys.
All right,
I'll check it out.
Check it out.
That's going to be my plug for the Lonely Island Gang. And I think that it's been fun talking about it. Jeremy, is there a good place online where people can find you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at jdub_music. I've got some videos and stuff up there, post my show updates. So yeah, follow me on there.
Sweet. Andy?
Not at the moment. You know, I'm kind of in between Twitters that I am comfortable with using. There's a lot of very inflammatory and extremist language on my last one. I have some very strong feelings about 7-Eleven taquitos that, quite frankly, after rereading them, after I, came down, just not fit for prime time.
Well, I'm glad we can always find you here on the Why Should I Care podcast. Andy.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
Catch you here. And you can find me at ADB3K on Instagram. I guess that'll be the place where you can find some comedy content, a little bit of content from us and the boys here. So if you guys want to interact with us via Instagram, we are going to have our own Why Should I Care channel very shortly here. And we're even going to have a phone number where you can leave us messages. And we look forward to hearing from you. So until then, my friends, we will see you again soon.
Bid you adieu.